All right. So for 12, FizzBuzz, write a program that outputs the string representation of numbers from 1 to n, but for multiples of 3, it should put out fizz instead of the number, and for multiples of 5, output buzz, for which four numbers which are multiples of both 3 and 5 output FizzBuzz. Seen this question before, FizzBuzz multi-threaded. Similar question. Yeah, so this is pretty straightforward question. You don't really need to know a lot about different data structures and algorithms necessarily for this question. You just kind of have to know how to iterate. So, I mean, there's multiple ways we could do it. One is like recursion, but this will probably time out. Another one, we could just do like a simple for loop, and then lastly, we could do like a while loop. And so I would imagine recursion, we're just going to have like a bunch of recursive calls for incrementing our number. And the time complexity for that, we'll just say the time and space will be n, O of n, linear, because we need however many whatever our number is, we have to do that many recursive calls, that many steps and that many recursive calls, versus a for loop and a while loop. We're probably going to look at time complexity of O of n, but the space will be constant. And so that will be the same for the for loop and also the while loop. The only reason, I guess I would say this is good practice, even though you're not necessarily going to be able to solve the question with recursion. I still think recursion is a good practice for a lot of Leetcode problems that don't necessarily involve it, because when you do run into questions that do require recursion, it'll be more intuitive to understand. And so, yeah, we could probably just have n and then I, which could start off at 0, and then our result array, which will just be this. And then we'll say if I matches n, then return our results array. Otherwise, we're going to return fizz buzz of n, and then increment I, and then we'll have our array, and then we'll say then we need to have a bunch of our if conditions. So we're basically going to do what's happening here. So if I modulo 3 equals 0, then r dot push. So yeah, it has to modulo 0, and it can't be 5. Can't modulo 5, then we'll push it. Else, if we have I modulo 3 does not equal 0, and I modulo 5 equals 0, then we'll push in. This is wrong. This would be fizz. This will be buzz. And then if they're both divisible by 0, then we'll push in FizzBuzz, as is seen here for this last element. Otherwise, we're just going to push in our number and a string. So this will convert it into a string. Let's see. We have our input's 1. Output is fizz. Interesting. So I guess for 0, it's yeah, technically going to be divisible or modulo by 3 and modulo by 5. So we're getting 0 element, and then we'll just check, just add that I doesn't equal 0. So now if we run it, So maybe just start off at 1. Yeah, it's probably gonna make more sense. Interesting. So maybe just add it by 1. Yeah. So this should time out anyways. Oh, well, I guess it worked. Interesting. All right, but the runtime's really bad and the memory's really bad. So we could try to optimize this. So we'll just do a simple for loop first. Let's do R is this, and then we'll say for let I equals 0, I is less than n, I plus plus, and then same type of thing down here, and then let's just move all of this over by 1, and then we'll just return R. Let's see how this works. Yeah, I keep doing that. So let's start off with 1, and then let's do n plus 1, like we did with the recursion. Yeah. So cool. Less memory, runtime. I can't remember if it's better, but that's another solution. And now let's do our final loop, which is going to be while. So we'll just have initialize I to 1, and then we'll say while I is less than n plus 1. We're basically going to do the same thing, except down here we need to increment I. So that will be it. And then submit it. And yeah, doing the same, similar type of thing. So those are kind of the 3 different approaches. I guess this didn't time out. I thought it would. But yeah, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.